Hi everyone, I'm Gene Su, the founder of StyleNearBy. I'll tell you about StyleNearBy a little bit later, but I'll be the moderator of the startup panel. So what the startup panel is about creativity and development. So idea generation, like how you come up with your ideas, and how to turn an idea into a successful business. Here's like a typical startup iteration cycle that many startups go through. And for those of you who are in startups, you will be very familiar with this diagram. But for those who are not, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. First, you start up on the top with an idea. You can come up with an idea in a dream, like in Inception maybe, in the toilet. And if you think the idea is worth trying, you go ahead and build and implement it. And you end up with a code, prototype, a new type of service, and then you deliver it to your customers or your target audience. You then measure the feedback from them, and you learn about like what people think about it, and then you can input into your idea and change it and modify it accordingly. But as you go through this cycle, you also go through an emotional roller coaster. So in this graph, on the horizontal axis is time, and the vertical axis is self-perceived confidence of the entrepreneur. So like Douglas was mentioning, every time he comes up with new ideas, he would tell his partner, Benjamin, about it. So when well, sorry about that. So when he comes up with that idea, he's, he thinks the idea is brilliant. It's like $1 million idea. He's uninformed. He thinks it's like the best thing in the world. And he starts telling like Benjamin about it. And Benjamin will be giving him feedback, saying like, there's these other things, similar things out there. And at that time, like, Douglas might feel like, oh, okay, maybe this idea is not that good. And he might give up. So, that is a matter of minutes, right? And then if he thinks that the idea is worth trying, he'll keep going. And you reach a crisis of meaning stage where you can either like really like pick up and learn about like how you can actually get this idea and take off, or you would give up because you are facing so many hurdles and problems and where you would just crash and burn. So let's say if you don't crash and burn, you would actually go through with the idea and deliver it to like your target audience, and you learn from like the feedback, and then you pick up again where you reach an informed optimism stage. And in a startup, you actually go through this emotional roller coaster again and again. And here today, we have lined up for you 4 very interesting panelists who have gone through this emotional roller coaster again and again, and they would like to share their experiences with you. So let me introduce our first panelist, Andy An. He's the founder and CEO of Daozi.com. He's a serial entrepreneur. And Daozi is actually a Web 2.0 wedding portal for China. And prior to starting Daozi, he founded New Digital Noise, which he turned into a successful and profitable enterprise in media and advertising. And as a side note, New Digital Noise has an initial NDN, which resembles the sound of his name. Andy. Next, we have Arthur Chow, the co-founder of 6 Waves. 6 Waves is an international publisher and developer of games on Facebook. Some of their most popular games include Happy Harvest, My Fishbowl, and Mall World. In 6 Waves, Arthur is responsible for the overall strategy and execution. At the same time, he is in charge of finance, product, and engineering team. That's really like pretty crazy. He's like in charge of everything. And that's why we have him on the panel. And Arthur? Then we have Kevin Huang, the CEO of Pixel Media. Pixel Media is a leading Asian online advertising sales network headquartered in Hong Kong, with offices throughout Greater China and Southeast Asia. Kevin is a strong believer of online advertising and led the management buyout of DoubleClick Asia back in 2002 when everyone thought that there's little potential left. Well, we all know what happened since. Kevin. And then we have Tsang, the co-founder of Pencake. Pencake is a company that helps brands and agencies build marketing campaigns on Facebook. They were ranked as the #3 most popular outside developer, training only Zynga and Electronic Arts. Terry. So for those of you who use Twitter, feel free to tweet your questions with the hashtag SUS2010. But if you don't use Twitter, it's fine. We're going to have questions on the floor as well. So let's delay no more. So we'll start off with very basic questions. Let's say, like, where did your ideas come from? I mean, did it come from your sleep or like someone?
It works. My first product is e-card. So the ideas come from 10 years ago when I was studying when I was a Form 7 student. So we don't have much IT techniques, but we find it fun in the internet. So we do something interesting, and then we start the first e-card site in Hong Kong. And it was quite good because, you know, there's no SEO in Yahoo or Google at that time. No SEO, but not many people mention SEO at that time. And we can win the first page of some keywords in Yahoo. And then we are really satisfied with that product. And after we graduate and work for 1 year, and we thought that we love to do something that we want. And then we want to repackage that ideas and make it into reality. Of course, there's some failure at that time, but the ideas come from 10 years ago, and yes.
Andy?
All right. My idea is quite simple. It's directly from my own wedding back then 5 years ago. And I was actually one of the first, among my peer group, I was the first one to get married. And after a year, I guess over 60 of my friends keep on coming back and ask me about how to get a wedding planner, where to place your wedding, you know, how to organize all the minor details. And I felt very annoyed. So I agree with Douglas that I find a spot in the market, the gap, that probably I should get into the market, post up a website and just let them to go inside and enjoy themselves and put all the details inside the portal. So basically the idea came out in Hong Kong. I planned to start the company 大日子 with the name in Mandarin because I visioned that this venture shouldn't be only based in Hong Kong, it should be the entire Greater China. So I started the name 大日子.com, and a lot of our users and readers, they're confused about the name because in Hong Kong we don't really know how to pronounce in Putonghua most of the time. So they treat us as a mainland Chinese company, but then basically the idea of this startup is for the entire mainland Chinese population, not only in Hong Kong, but to benefit the wedding industry for a lot of wedding vendors, advertisers, or newlyweds and brides and grooms to come in, share their idea, and share the love and all the wonderful stories to the friends and family. So this is basically how I started my idea.
Yeah. So I think in general, idea generation actually is coming from your daily interaction of life, right? So I had a lot of ideas, and unlike Douglas, who had a business partner, I usually throw my ideas to my wife, and 9 out of 10 times she discouraged me. because he wants me to have a stable job and all that, right? So until I came up with 6 Waves, so I told her, so this is the idea, right? 6 Waves, you know, Facebook, you know, games, it's like growing, and then should we do it, right? So, and then she said nothing. So I said, okay, so she approved. So I did that, and I later found out she by saying nothing doesn't mean that she approves. So gentlemen, learn about this from your wife, right? So if she says nothing, doesn't mean that she approves. So when I later found out that she says nothing because she doesn't know IT and technology, so she said nothing. So that's how we actually founded the idea. And of course, you know, then I actually would talk to our friends, and I think usually you throw your ideas with your friends, and you think about, you know, these are the friends that you can actually share the same passion and the same vision, then kind of like the roller coaster that you mentioned earlier. So we're really optimistic about the idea, and then we just went ahead and did it.
Mine wasn't so much an idea because we weren't the first one to do online advertising, and how Pixel was founded was actually through a management buyout. I actually saw an opportunity because prior to 2002, there were like 8 advertising sales companies online. By the end of 2002, there was one, and it was us. So through the middle, after 9/11, you know, the truth is the shit hit the fan. Every, you know, ad network based in the US and Europe, they all left. And so we were working with advertisers and publishers, and they were all saying, hey, you know, what's going on? There's no one else to provide us with the service. We need someone to sell ads. We need someone who can help us with our ad campaigns. And so I said, okay, what's there to lose? I was 26, you know, I had nothing. And if I lost everything, I still had nothing, so I gave it a shot. So it was very much seizing the moment, seeing the opportunity, because as a company, I'll be very frank, we're not the most creative ones. We're not the first one to come up with online advertising. That was started in 1997. But it was very much, you know, catching that moment and